Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. Our top story today is on Karnataka rains because there is a red warning in at least 3 districts of the state of Karnataka. All schools and colleges were shut today in coastal Karnataka because of heavy rains. The red warning is in Dakshina Kannada, Udupi and Uttara Kannada. Now, Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has instructed officials to conduct a survey of the flood-prone areas to assess whether the residents in the affected areas require to be relocated temporarily or permanently. In fact, a rain holiday was also declared in at least 8 districts of the state. 3 people have died so far in rain-related incidents. Moving away from the story now, an update on what's going on as far as the Kali poster row is concerned. Facing backlash, in fact, against the poster of her documentary Kali, filmmaker Leena Manimekalai has told The Guardian that she does not feel safe anywhere. She said, and I quote, "It feels like the whole nation that has now deteriorated from the largest democracy to the largest hate machine wants to censor me." End quote. Now, the poster shows Goddess Kali smoking a cigarette and raising the pride flag of the LGBTQI plus community. FIRs have been filed against the filmmaker, and Twitter has also taken down the tweet. Now, the Aga Khan Museum in Toronto issued an apology after complaints were registered after the documentary was screened there. Moving on from the story, now at least 4 people were injured in communal clashes in Bagalkote's Kerur in Karnataka yesterday. Each side alleged that the other had harassed women, triggering this incident. Right now, there's Section 144 that's been imposed in the area till the 8th of July. Police have arrested 18 people so far. Meanwhile, according to Live Law, Delhi High Court dismissed a plea seeking to suspend Aam Aadmi Party leader Satyendar Jain from the cabinet. Now, Satyendar Jain, if you remember, was arrested earlier by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case on the 30th of May. He is in judicial custody. On the 27th of June, a CBI court extended his judicial custody till the 11th of July. Meanwhile, an update on Maharashtra's politics right now. As many as 66 out of 67 Shiv Sena corporators from Thane lent their support to Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde faction. Now, obviously, there are 2 divisions in Shiv Sena right now, one led by Uddhav Thackeray, former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and the other led by the current Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde. Now, the 131-member Thane civic body is considered to be one of the important municipal corporations in Maharashtra. It's especially important because the tenure of the municipal corporation is ended and elections are expected to take place in August, September. So, this development is important. Meanwhile, fearing a revolt among their MPs, the Thackeray faction on Wednesday appointed Rajan Vichare as the Shiv Sena's chief whip in the Lok Sabha. An update on COVID cases in the country. India has reported 18,930 new COVID cases and 35 deaths in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu are reporting the highest number of cases when compared to the other states and union territories. In the meantime, there is a new variant that has now been found in India, according to the World Health Organization, which has said that a new sub-lineage BA2.75 of the Omicron variant has been found in India. It was first reported in India, according to WHO, and then subsequently also reported from other 10 countries. Now, WHO Chief Scientist Soumya Swaminathan has said that it's too early to see whether the subvariant has properties of additional immune evasion or it's more clinically severe. Meanwhile, according to a report by Bar and Bench, Alt News co-founder Mohammed Zubair has approached the Supreme Court seeking bail in a case in which he was arrested by the Uttar Pradesh police for referring to some Hindu religious leaders as hate mongers. Now, Zubair was sent to 14-day judicial custody in the case by a court in Uttar Pradesh. His lawyer has said that his client faces death threats and there is real concern about Mr. Zubair's safety. Now, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear the plea on Friday. Also in the news, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has met his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi and said, in fact, called for an early resolution of the outstanding issues along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. Now, they met in Bali at a conclave of G20. So far, both the countries have held 15 rounds of commander-level talks to resolve the conflict, but there's been no concrete resolution till now. India and China, remember, had a standoff after the troops clashed in Galwan Valley in eastern Ladakh in June 2020. 20 Indian soldiers were killed. On to business news right now. The centre has imposed restrictions on the export of key wheat products, including flour, wholemeal atta used to make dows, and semolina. In fact, this will come into effect from the 12th of July. In May, it had banned private wheat exports to manage its food security needs. It had kept a window open for overseas shipments only on the specific request of the foreign government. Meanwhile, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala-backed Akasa Air has got the aviation regulators' permission to start commercial flights. Now, it received its air operator certificate to carry out commercial air transport operations, and this is the final step by the DGCA. In 5 years, Akasa Air plans to have a fleet of 72 aircrafts. Moving on to news coming in from across the world right now, starting off with the United Kingdom. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned today after over 50 ministers and aides, including 3 cabinet ministers, have quit the government in the last few days. Now, this comes amid several scandals against Mr. Johnson. Also, after a series of scandals with Johnson is now facing the heat for his shifting claims on Chris Pincher, a lawmaker who stepped down earlier following allegations of sexual misconduct. Mr. Johnson has now said that he will serve as the Prime Minister until a new leader is appointed. An update on Sri Lanka right now. Sri Lanka's central bank has raised key interest rates to the highest in 2 decades to bring down record inflation. Now, the country is facing its worst ever economic crisis since independence, with foreign exchange reserves at a record low. The country is also struggling to pay for essentials such as food, medicines, etc. One piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. It comes in from India. Researchers at IIT Guwahati have developed an affordable radiative cooler which can operate without electricity. Now, the cooling system can be applied on rooftops and can function both during day and night time as well. Their innovation has been published in the Journal of Physics T Applied Physics by IOP Publishing, United Kingdom. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.